if you're listening right now, help me prove something wrong. My mother said I wouldn't even reach 1,000 subscribers, but I believe stories like this deserve to be heard. Help me show her that these tales matter. Please subscribe to Twilight Spell Book, and let's keep breathing life into stories that were never meant to stay silent. Now, let's continue. Once upon a time, there was a miller who had a beautiful daughter. She was not only lovely to look upon, with golden hair that caught the sunlight and eyes as clear as spring water, but she was also clever and kind, with a sharp mind and a brave heart. The miller loved his daughter dearly, but as she grew older and reached the age when young women marry, he began to worry about her future. The miller was not a wealthy man. He had his mill, which provided a modest living, and he had his daughter, whom he treasured more than gold. But he knew that without a substantial dowry, it might be difficult for her to make a good marriage. He wanted her to be secure, to be cared for, to have a husband who could provide for her all the comforts he had not been able to give. One day, a suitor came to call on the miller. This man was unlike any who had come before. He was elegantly dressed in fine clothes of dark velvet and silk. He wore expensive boots and a hat with a sweeping feather. Gold rings adorned his fingers, and a heavy gold chain hung around his neck. He spoke with smooth words and cultured tones, and he claimed to be a wealthy merchant from a distant city. The suitor expressed great interest in marrying the miller's daughter. He praised her beauty extravagantly, spoke of the fine life he could provide for her, and assured the miller that she would want for nothing if she became his wife. He painted pictures with his words of a grand house, servants, beautiful gowns, and a life of ease and luxury. The miller was impressed and flattered. Here was exactly the opportunity he had hoped for. A wealthy man who could give his daughter everything. He barely hesitated before agreeing to the match, shaking the suitor's hand firmly and speaking of wedding arrangements. But the daughter felt differently. From the moment she first saw the suitor, something inside her recoiled. When he looked at her, his eyes were cold despite his warm smile. When he took her hand, his touch made her skin crawl. There was something wrong about him, something that set every instinct in her body on edge, though she could not say exactly what it was. She tried to explain her feelings to her father. "Father," she said, "I do not love this man. I do not even like him. When I look at him, I feel afraid, though I cannot tell you why. Please, do not make me marry him." But the miller would not listen. "You are being foolish," he said. not unkindly, but firmly. "This is an excellent match. The man is wealthy and respectable. He can give you a wonderful life. These feelings you have are just nervousness, just the natural anxiety of a young woman facing marriage. You will grow to care for him in time. Trust me, daughter. I know what is best for you." The daughter wanted to protest further, but she loved her father and did not wish to disobey him or seem ungrateful for his concern for her welfare. So she said nothing more, though the heavy feeling of dread in her chest did not go away. The wedding date was set for several weeks hence. During this time, the suitor visited regularly, always bringing expensive gifts, jewels, perfumes, fine fabrics. He was always polite, always proper, always saying exactly the right things. Yet the daughter's unease never diminished. If anything, it grew stronger with each visit. One evening, as the suitor was preparing to leave after a visit, he said to his betrothed, "My dear, you have never visited my home. This is most unusual. A bride should see where she will be living. You must come and visit me before the wedding." The daughter felt her heart sink like a stone into cold water. The last thing she wanted was to visit this man's house, but her father was present and clearly expected her to agree, so she forced a smile and nodded. "Of course," she said quietly. "When would you like me to come?" "Tomorrow," said the suitor, his cold eyes gleaming. "Come tomorrow afternoon. I will leave directions for you." He pulled out a small leather pouch and poured a stream of ashes into her palm. "My house is deep in the forest," he explained. "The path is winding and confusing. As you walk, scatter these ashes to mark your way so you can find your path home again. I will be waiting for you." After he left, the daughter looked at the ashes in her hand and felt a chill run through her entire body. Why did he live so deep in the forest that she would need to mark a trail? Why did he live so far from any town or village? Nothing about this seemed right. That night, she barely slept. She lay in her bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind churning with worry and fear. Every instinct screamed at her that she should not go, that something terrible would happen if she ventured into the forest to this man's house. But she had promised, and her father expected her to go. What choice did she have? The next morning dawned gray and cold. The daughter, dressed in her simplest gown and sturdy boots, she took the pouch of ashes the suitor had given her. But something made her also fill her pockets with dried peas and lentils from the kitchen. She was not sure why she did this. Some unconscious instinct for caution, perhaps. She kissed her father goodbye trying to keep her face cheerful, though her heart was pounding with dread. "I will be back before dark," she promised. "Enjoy your visit, my dear," said the miller, smiling. "Soon this will be your home. You are very fortunate." The daughter set out into the forest. The suitor had given her basic directions. Follow the main path east for 2 miles, then turn north at the lightning-struck oak, then follow the stream westward. The directions led her deeper and deeper into the woods, away from any traveled roads or familiar landmarks. As she walked, she did as the suitor had instructed, and scattered ashes to mark her path. But she also, guided by the instinct that had made her bring them, dropped peas and lentils every few steps. She told herself she was being foolish and overcautious, but she could not stop herself. The forest grew darker and more dense as she traveled. The trees pressed close on either side, their branches forming a canopy overhead that blocked out much of the sunlight. It was unnaturally quiet. No bird sang, no squirrel chattered, no rabbit rustled in the undergrowth. The silence was oppressive and eerie. After walking for over an hour, following the winding path deeper and deeper into the forest, she came upon a house. It stood in a small clearing, and it was not at all what she had expected. The suitor had spoken of a grand home, but this was a rough structure, more like a large kang or lodge. It was built of dark wood that seemed to absorb the light rather than reflect it. The windows were shuttered. The whole place had an air of abandonment and decay, though smoke rose from the chimney, indicating someone was inside. The daughter stood at the edge of the clearing, every fiber of her being telling her to turn and run. But she had come this far. She had promised. Perhaps the inside was better than the outside. Perhaps her fears were groundless. Taking a deep breath, she walked across the clearing and pushed open the heavy wooden door. The interior was dim, lit only by a fire burning in a large hearth. The room was furnished simply with rough wooden furniture, a long table, chairs, benches. But something was wrong. The daughter's eyes adjusted to the darkness, and she noticed things that made her blood run cold. On the table were stains, dark stains that looked disturbingly like old blood. The floor near the fireplace had similar stains that someone had tried but failed to scrub away. Against one wall stood several large barrels and chests, and hanging on the walls were various weapons, knives, swords, axes, all looking well used and sharp. "Hello?" the daughter called out, her voice sounding small and frightened in the empty room. "Is anyone here? Turn back, "Young bride," came a voice, making her jump. "You are in a murderer's house." The daughter spun around, her heart hammering. There, in a cage in the darkest corner of the room, a cage she had not noticed at first, was an ancient bird. It might have been a parrot or a raven. It was hard to tell in the dim light. Its feathers were dull with age, and its eyes were sad and knowing. Turn back, young bride," the bird cried again. "You are in a murderer's house." The daughter's worst fears were confirmed. This was no merchant's home. This was something much more sinister. She had to leave, had to get away immediately. She turned to flee, but at that moment, she heard voices approaching from outside. Rough male voices, laughing and talking loudly. Panicking, the daughter looked around desperately for somewhere to hide. There was a large barrel standing near the wall. She ran to it, lifted the heavy lid with strength born of terror, and climbed inside, pulling the lid closed above her just as the door burst open. Through a crack in the barrel, she could see into the room. A group of men entered, rough, brutal-looking men with cruel faces and cold eyes. Her supposed bridegroom was among them, and she saw now what she had sensed all along. He was not a gentleman or a merchant. He was the leader of a band of robbers and murderers. The men were dragging someone with them. The daughter's hand flew to her mouth to stifle a gasp of horror. It was a young woman, a maiden, not much older than herself. The poor girl was struggling and screaming, begging for mercy, trying to break free from the rough hands that held her. "Please," the girl sobbed. "Please let me go. I have done nothing to you. Please." But the robbers only laughed at her pleas. They threw her down on the long table, and the leader, the man who was supposed to be the miller's daughter's bridegroom, pulled out a long, wicked knife. "You have something we want," he said coldly to the terrified girl. "You have a ring on your finger, a gold ring that will fetch a good price." The poor maiden held up her hand, showing a simple gold band on her finger. "Take it," she cried. "Take it, please. I give it to you freely. Just let me go." "Oh, we will take it," said the robber chief with a cruel smile. "But the problem is, my dear, that your finger has swollen in the cold, and the ring will not come off easily." He made no attempt to work the ring off gently, or to use soap or oil to help it slide. Instead, with one swift, brutal motion, he brought down his knife and cut off the poor girl's finger. The maiden shrieked in agony. Blood spurted from the wound. But worse was to come. The severed finger with the ring still on it, flew through the air and landed directly into the barrel where the miller's daughter was hiding. The daughter bit down hard on her own hand to keep from screaming. The finger lay in her lap, still warm, the ring gleaming dully in the darkness of the barrel. She felt faint with horror, but forced herself to remain absolutely silent and still. Meanwhile, the robbers had given their victim a cup of wine, 3 kinds of wine: white, red, and yellow. As soon as the poor girl drank it, her heart burst, and she died. The daughter, hidden in the barrel, watched in frozen horror as the robbers then proceeded to cut up the body, preparing to dispose of it. "This one had nice clothes," commented one of the robbers. "Good fabric. Should fetch something. And she had decent teeth," said another. "Some folks pay for teeth." They spoke of their victim as if she were nothing but merchandise, showing not the slightest remorse or humanity. The miller's daughter realized with absolute certainty that this would have been her fate as well. Her bridegroom had no intention of marrying her. He intended to rob and murder her, just as he had done to countless other victims. The robbers continued their grisly work, dividing up the spoils, arguing over who would get what share. They drank heavily, becoming louder and more boisterous. The daughter remained motionless in the barrel, barely daring to breathe, praying they would not discover her. Finally, after what seemed like hours, the robbers began to settle down for the night. Some lay down on benches to sleep off the wine they had consumed. Others went into back rooms. The fire burned lower. The house grew quiet. The daughter waited in the barrel, counting her heartbeats, giving them time to fall into deep sleep. She waited until the loudest snoring filled the air, until she was as sure as she could be that they were all truly asleep. Then, moving as slowly and quietly as humanly possible, she lifted the lid of the barrel. The creak it made seemed as loud as thunder to her terrified ears. She froze, holding her breath, but no one stirred. The robbers snored on, dead to the world in their drunken sleep. The daughter climbed out of the barrel, her legs cramping from having been folded in the same position for so long. She still had the severed finger with its ring in her pocket, grim evidence of what she had witnessed, though she wished she could drop it and forget it forever. She crept across the room on feet as light as air, stepping over outstretched legs, moving around chairs, barely breathing. The bird in its cage watched her with knowing eyes, but remained mercifully silent. She reached the door and carefully eased it open. The night air had never smelled so sweet. she stepped outside and began to run. She ran through the dark forest, her heart pounding, expecting at any moment to hear shouts behind her, to hear the robbers discovering her escape and giving chase. But the night remained quiet, except for her own ragged breathing and the sound of her feet on the forest path. In the darkness, she could not see the ashes she had scattered to mark her path, but the peas and lentils she had dropped, they had sprouted in the damp forest soil. In just these few hours, they had sent up small shoots that glowed faintly in the moonlight filtering through the trees, marking her path as clearly as if it were daylight. She followed the trail of sprouted peas and lentils, running as fast as she could, branches tearing at her dress and hair, her breath coming in gasps. She ran and ran until finally, just as the first light of dawn was breaking through the trees, she burst out of the forest and saw her father's mill ahead. She collapsed on the doorstep, sobbing with relief and terror and exhaustion. Her father, hearing the commotion, opened the door and found her there. "Daughter, what has happened? You said you would be home before dark. I have been worried sick." Between sobs, the daughter told him everything about the house in the forest, about the robbers, about the poor, murdered girl, about barely escaping with her life. She showed him the severed finger with its ring as proof of the horror she had witnessed. The miller was horrified and filled with guilt. "I nearly gave you to a murderer," he said, his face white with shock. "I was so concerned with finding you a wealthy husband that I did not listen to your instincts. Can you ever forgive me?" "There is nothing to forgive, Father," said his daughter, though she was still trembling. "You could not have known. He fooled us both with his fine clothes and smooth words. But now we must do something. We cannot let him continue to murder innocent people." The miller agreed. He immediately went to the village and brought back the magistrate and the constable, along with several armed men. The daughter told them her story, and though it seemed almost too terrible to believe, the evidence of the finger and ring convinced them that something dark and evil was indeed afoot in the forest. But there was a problem. No one was quite sure exactly where the robber's house was. The daughter's directions, while she could retrace her own path, were not sufficient for leading a large group through the winding forest trails. They would have to find another way. Then the daughter had an idea. "My supposed bridegroom does not know I discovered his secret," she said. "He thinks I simply failed to visit him. The wedding is still planned for next week. Let him come to the wedding. Once he is here, surrounded by witnesses, I will expose him for what he is. It was a dangerous plan. The robber might become violent when confronted, but the magistrate agreed it was the best chance they had of capturing him. Arrangements were made. Armed men would be hidden near the mill on the day of the supposed wedding. The trap was set. The days passed slowly. The daughter lived in constant fear that the robber chief would somehow learn that she had been to his house, that he would come for her in the night. But no one came. The forest remained quiet. Finally, the wedding day arrived. Guests gathered at the miller's house, friends, family, neighbors, and many who were actually the magistrate's men in disguise, armed and ready. A wedding feast was laid out on long tables. Everything looked normal and festive. The bridegroom arrived exactly on time, dressed in his finest clothes, smiling his cold smile, playing the part of the eager husband-to-be. He greeted the miller warmly, complimented the arrangements, and acted as if nothing in the world were amiss. During the feast, as was traditional, guests began telling stories. Each person would tell a tale, and others would comment on whether it was true or just an entertaining fabrication. After several guests had shared their stories, the bride stood up. "I too have a story to tell," she said, her voice clear and steady, though her heart was racing. "I had a very strange dream. Would you like to hear it?" "Of course, my dear," said her bridegroom, smiling indulgently. "Do tell us your dream." "I dreamed," she began, "that I walked deep into a dark forest." She proceeded to describe, in precise detail, her journey to the robber's house, presenting it as if it were merely a dream she had experienced. The bridegroom's smile remained fixed, but his eyes grew wary. "And in my dream," she continued, "I came to a dark house in a clearing, and when I entered, I found it empty except for a bird in a cage. And do you know what the bird said?" She paused dramatically. The bird said, turn back, young bride. You are in a murderer's house." "What an imagination you have, my dear," said the bridegroom, but his voice had grown tight. "It was only a dream." "But wait," said the daughter. "There is more to my dream. I dreamed that I hid in a barrel, and that robbers came in, dragging a poor maiden with them." She continued her story, describing everything she had witnessed in exact and terrible detail. The murdered girl, the severed finger, all of it. The guests listened in horrified fascination. The bridegroom had gone very pale, his hand creeping toward the knife at his belt. "What a terrible nightmare," he said, his voice now harsh. "But that is all it was. A dream. Nothing more." "Perhaps," said the daughter. "But the strangest part of the dream was this. In the dream, when the robber chief cut off the poor maiden's finger. It flew through the air and landed in the barrel where I was hiding. It was so vivid, so real. And when I woke up, she reached into her pocket and pulled out the severed finger with its ring still on it. She held it up for all to see. When I woke up, I found this in my pocket. Now how could that be, if it was only a dream? Chaos erupted. The bridegroom leaped up, drawing his knife, but the hidden guards were faster. They seized him before he could harm anyone. He fought like a wild animal, cursing and threatening, all pretense of civilization gone. "You meddling girl," he screamed at the daughter. "You should have died with the others. I would have made it quick for you, quicker than I made it for her." He nodded toward the severed finger. "She took hours to die, and she begged and begged. It was quite entertaining." His words condemned him utterly. The guests shrank back in horror at this confirmation of the daughter's story. The magistrate ordered him clapped in irons immediately. "You will lead us to your house in the forest," the magistrate said grimly, "and to your accomplices. And then you will face the king's justice for your crimes." And so it was done. Under threat of immediate execution, the robber chief led them to the house deep in the forest. There they found his gang of murderers, all still half asleep from their debauchery of the previous nights, and easily captured them. They also found horrors beyond imagination. In the cellar beneath the house were the remains of dozens of victims, perhaps hundreds. The robbers had been operating for years, preying on travelers, luring young women with promises of marriage, killing anyone who came within their reach. They had accumulated a treasure trove of stolen goods, but the price they had extracted in human suffering was beyond calculation. The robbers were all arrested, tried, and executed for their crimes. The treasure they had stolen was used to compensate the families of their victims, insofar as those families could be found. As for the miller's daughter, her courage and quick thinking had saved not only her own life, but potentially the lives of countless others who might have fallen victim to the robber band in the future. She became famous throughout the land for her bravery. Many suitors came to ask for her hand after that, drawn by her fame and courage. But the daughter was cautious now. She had learned to trust her instincts, and she would not marry anyone until she was absolutely certain of their character and integrity. Eventually, she did marry. A kind young man from the village, someone she had known all her life, someone whose goodness and honesty were beyond question. They lived a long and happy life together, and she often told the story of the robber bridegroom as a warning to young women. "Trust your instincts," she would say. "If something feels wrong, it probably is wrong, no matter how attractive the surface appearance might be. Do not let anyone, not even those who love you, pressure you into ignoring that inner voice that warns you of danger. It may save your life. The miller, for his part, never quite forgave himself for nearly giving his daughter to a monster. But his daughter bore him no ill will. "You meant well, Father," she told him. "You wanted what was best for me. You could not have known. But you listened when I told you the truth, and you helped me bring justice. That is what matters." The bird from the robber's house, the ancient creature who had tried to warn the daughter, was brought back to the mill and lived there for the rest of its days, well cared for and honored as the creature who had tried to speak truth in a house of lies. And the sprouted peas and lentils that had marked the daughter's path to safety? They say that trail remained visible in the forest for years afterward, a permanent reminder of the night when a clever girl's foresight saved her life. Parents would take their children to see the path and tell them the story, teaching them always to prepare for danger, always to trust their instincts, and always to be more clever than their enemies. As for the dark house in the forest, it was burned to the ground so that it could never again serve as a lair for evil. The clearing where it had stood was left empty, and over time, the forest reclaimed it. They say that even now, no birds will sing in that place, and animals avoid it as if they know its history. The story of the Robber Bridegroom spread far and wide, told and retold in taverns and around firesides, in village squares, and at court. It became a cautionary tale, a reminder that evil can wear a pleasing face, that danger can come dressed in fine clothes and speaking honeyed words, and that sometimes the greatest courage is found in trusting your own judgment, even when everyone around you says you are wrong. The daughter, who became famous for outwitting the robber bridegroom, lived to be very old. She had children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and to each of them she told her story, making sure they understood its lessons. The world can be a dangerous place, she would tell them, sitting in her rocking chair by the fire, her hands wrinkled with age, but her eyes still sharp and bright. There are people who will try to deceive you, to hurt you, to use you for their own ends. But you have weapons against them: your intelligence, your instincts, your courage, and your willingness to speak truth, even when it is difficult or dangerous. "But grandmother," one of her grandchildren once asked, "weren't you terrified? How did you keep from screaming when you saw those terrible things?" The old woman smiled. "Of course I was terrified. I was more frightened than I had ever been in my life. But fear does not mean you cannot act. Fear is simply your body telling you that something is wrong, that you need to be careful and smart. The trick is not to let fear paralyze you. Use it. Let it make you alert and quick and clever. "And the peas and lentils?" asked another grandchild. "How did you know to bring them?" "I did not know," she answered honestly. "It was instinct, nothing more. Some part of me knew that I might need a way to find my path home again. And that part of me acted without conscious thought. That is what instinct is. The wisdom of your body and your deepest self. The knowledge that exists below conscious thought. Learn to listen to it. It will rarely steer you wrong." She would show them the ring from the severed finger, which she had kept all those years as a reminder. It was a simple band of gold, tarnished now with age, but to her, it represented both the horror she had witnessed and the strength she had found within herself to survive and bring about justice. This ring belonged to a young woman who did not have a chance to save herself. She would say softly, "I do not even know her name, but I kept it to remember her, and all the others who fell victim to those evil men. I tell my story not to frighten you, but to prepare you. The world has both good and evil in it. Know the difference. Be wise, be careful, and be brave when bravery is needed." And so the story of the Robber Bridegroom passed down through generations, each telling, adding new emphasis or details, but the core always remaining the same. A young woman who trusted her instincts, who used her intelligence to survive, who had the courage to speak truth even when it put her in danger, and who brought evil to justice. It remains one of the darker tales from the Brothers Grimm collection, a story that does not shy away from the reality that evil exists in the world, but that also shows that good can triumph if one is brave and clever and true. Sleep now, dear listener, and let this tale remind you of your own strength and wisdom. May you always trust your instincts. May you always have the courage to speak truth. And may you always find your way home, even through the darkest forest. Good night, and may your dreams be peaceful, secure in the knowledge that intelligence and courage can overcome even the darkest dangers.
you.